Greetings Internet, it's Dustin again with my HomeKit Home. This shouldn't come as a shock to you because you did click on the video. However, in this go round, we'll be looking at the Eve door and window contact sensor. Now, this is a HomeKit enabled and really only HomeKit enabled contact sensor, and I do believe it was the first one. So what we'll be doing in this video is we'll go ahead and set it up and we'll see how it looks both in the Eve for HomeKit app and in Apple's Home app. And at the end, I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on the device after having owned it for over 2 years now. So that about does it for the intro. Let's get into it. No, not you again. Let's start by looking at a couple of the key features of the Eve door and window. So since it is a contact sensor, it does have two parts and it determines the open and closed state by a magnetic connection. And so really you can attach this to anything that opens and closes or even moves and has a stationary point, and you can determine whether or not the state is open or closed. I would say that the device does have a pretty sleek design, seemingly taking its cues from the early 2000s MacBooks. The Eve door window does use Bluetooth Low Energy as its means for connecting to HomeKit, so you'll want to make sure that you have a home hub relatively close to the device if you want to access it remotely and run automations and things like that. Also, something to keep in mind is that this device does use one half AA lithium battery. That's an ER14250 battery. It will have a battery life of about a year according to the website. However, I saw things more like a year and a half. Alright, well let's go ahead now to the Eve for HomeKit app and we'll set this bad boy up. Now we've launched the app. We'll land on either the Rooms tab or the At a Glance tab, but what we want is the Settings tab on the far right corner, and just below there we'll tap Add Accessory. And there it is. We've got the Eve door, so we'll tap on that and it will start the pairing process. And as soon as it's finished pairing, we'll jump into the HomeKit. Was that my leg? Alright, well anyway, there's our HomeKit code now. So we'll go ahead and connect it, and we'll go ahead and fast forward through this because, well, it's boring and you don't need to see it. But while we wait, it's a great opportunity for you to give a big thumbs up to this video and to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Well, and just like that, we're good to go. So now we need to decide which room we want to put the device in. For me, I think it's going to be the kitchen. And now we can look at the type and the name of the device. So we have a few different options for the door, and that will kind of affect how we can speak with Siri. But we've got a few different door types with different icons. That won't transfer over to Apple's Home app, but it's nice to have it if you primarily use the Eve for HomeKit app. I'll just choose a regular door for the time being, but we can choose from garage doors to blinds to windows. Have a few different options there, which is pretty nice and will affect how we speak with Siri if that's your thing. We can also adjust the name of the device, and so it will automatically change as you go through the different types if you choose window, door, garage, the different types of doors. But it is always changeable and customizable so that you have things maybe a bit more organized within your home in the event that you have multiple Eve door and windows, which is a very good thing. So we'll tap next and we'll get a confirmation that the accessory has been added. And in the room we can see that we have our contact sensor. We can see that its current state is closed, but that it was last open just now, and it can also tell us the time, the number of times it was open. So 7 it says here, which I guess is pretty accurate. I didn't actually count how many times I hit open it, but you know, there's that. We also have some graphs here that we can use to kind of get a more general overview of how many times the doors were open. But if we tap the little blue circle with the 3 little dots, we can get more specific information about exactly when different things were opened and closed. And as you can see here, this goes back pretty far. I have had this for quite a while, so it does go back pretty far. We can also export this data if we would like, and we can export it to a number of different formats. We can see that, you know, depending on the different apps we have installed, we can export it there. So that's pretty useful, I think, especially if you're one of those people who is very data driven and like to crunch those numbers and see how we can make improvements for different things. Well, that's how we can use the Eve door and window and the Eve for HomeKit app. Let's go over to Apple's Home app and see what we can do over there. So here we are in the kitchen, and as you can see, there is motion detected in the kitchen, and I'm standing here opening and closing the door. Didn't bother filming it, well, because I didn't want to set up all the equipment, but trust that that's what's going on here. Now I do have to say that because it's a Bluetooth device, it may take a little bit longer than a Wi-Fi or a Zigbee based device, but it connects pretty quickly and it'll send you those notifications and get you those updates. So if we long press on the device, we can change the name of the device, and we can also see that it's currently closed, that it's got 100% battery level, and that it's not charging because it's not a rechargeable device. We can also change the room that it's in, and if we tap on the type, we can change it from a garage door, blinds, contact sensor, door, window, etc. We can also decide if we would like to include this in our favorites. I'm not particularly too keen on that because of our next step, which is status and notifications. So once we tap on the status and notifications bar, we can allow for our notifications, which this is how I'm going to know. I don't need to have it in my favorites because I'm going to know that it's going to send me a notification when nobody is home. Right, so I don't really care if it's open if I'm home, because I'm pretty sure somebody's doing that. But when nobody's home, I definitely want to be aware of that. You know, in general, contact sensors really aren't that flashy. They're not that impressive when we compare it to some of the other things that we can do with home automation. However, they do add that little bit of magic to your home throughout your day in terms of being able to have something happen based on when something opens and closes. Now, we're not just limited to doors and windows. We can really put these on anywhere where you have two different things that are moving and coming together. In terms of Eve door and window contact sensor, it is my go-to. I have tested some of the others that are in the HomeKit ecosystem, and I have to admit I really appreciate Eve's approach here. I really do appreciate the flexibility that we have with the Eve door and window contact sensor, in particular with the added risers that we get that come in the box in case you're trying to maybe have a contact that isn't exactly level. You can add one of those spacers in there and you're good to go. Also, in the more than 2 years that I've had this device, I've never really had any disconnection issues. I did have to change the battery, but that was after about 2 years, so I'm pretty happy with that. One thing you do want to keep in mind with any Bluetooth HomeKit accessory is how close it is to a home hub. For the best results, you want it to be within about 30 or 40 feet of the hub itself so that it makes a really solid connection and you know that your automations will run at their best. So, do you have the Eve door and window? What were your experiences like? How do you use it? Let us know in the comments down below. If you're thinking about picking up the Eve door and window and we're considering maybe helping out the channel, we'd appreciate you using the Amazon affiliate link found in the description box down below. Also in the description box, you'll find a link to our blog over at My HomeKit Home, as well as links to our social media where we've got all sorts of content that is HomeKit related. As always, if you found the video useful, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Until next time, this has been Dustin with My HomeKit Home.